All right, welcome to the Built Different podcast. We are in our interview series. We are interviewing people that have been with me for a while, that have seen the culture from the very beginning to where it is at now. Also, before we get into this and I introduce my guest, I want to give you a call to action. If you want to hear more and learn more about being built different, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get the notifications. And my true call to action is to share it with at least one person you haven't shared it with before. Stop sharing it to Nana every time you watch this. Share it to someone other than Nana. Unless Nana's sharing it to like 1,000 people, give Nana a break. She probably don't want to be a coach, and I don't know if she knows anything about what we're talking about because she's not even barely on YouTube. So anyway, we are here with Coach Cody White. Coach Cody White has been with me for a while now. Part of this series, in this interview series, we are interviewing people who saw the beginning of the culture, saw the middle of the culture, and now see where the culture is actually the norm, which is written about in the book. This is a shameless plug. You can click the link on my YouTube channel. Go buy the Built Different book. I didn't write it for sales and all that other stuff. I wrote it in obedience to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and it is really meant to help you. It's not just designed for coaches. It also teaches you how to connect with God and lead people to the Lord. All right, welcome, Coach Cody White. Coach Cody White is a graduate of Coram Deo Academy. He also went to SAGU. I will not steal any more of his glory. Cody, tell us about yourself and your sports background.
Yeah, so like you said, I graduated from Coram Deo. Interestingly enough, not when you were there. I was the first person ever from Coram Deo to receive a scholarship to play football. At that time, what was really popular is if you were any good, you would just transfer to Flower Mound High School, the Marcus High School, the big high schools in the area. And so yeah, graduated from there. Felt like the Lord told me, you're going to kind of set a path for others to follow, that you can love the Lord and also go to college and to play football. And so did that, went to SAGU, had a great time there. In high school. I was all-state, interestingly enough, on the defensive side of the ball. And then I was also an all-district wide receiver. And yeah, so it's really interesting how our paths, we had a lot of commonalities before we even ever met each other. And that's kind of what how we hit it off whenever we did meet. So yeah.
So how did we meet?
So yeah, I was actually in kind of a transition period, and one day I see that Coram Deo had gotten a new head football coach online, and I thought to myself, oh, that's cool. I wonder who it is. And so I go on and I see your photo there, and then I'm starting to read your bio and your resume, and this new AD head football coach, he had coached at SAGU right after I was there, and now he's at Coram Deo. He was at Trinity, and I was like, man, I got to meet this guy. We somehow have just barely missed each other, but we know a lot of the same people. I know a lot of people that you've coached. You know a lot of people that I played with, and it was just really interesting. So I just randomly hit you up, and I said, I'd love to buy you lunch. I'd love to tell you my story a little bit and just get to know you. And so we did that, and during that time, I think it was COVID actually, we had to, the first time I think I got sick, and we had to postpone it. And then but whenever we finally met, it was just one of those things where it just seemed like we were cut from the same cloth. You know, it was like, man, look at all of these different similarities and commonalities we have. We know all these different people, and we just kind of left it at that. And through a process, I was a youth pastor, and I ended up, I was in this period of transition, and it was really God. I was looking for my next, like, what am I supposed to do? What should I do? Just trying to hear from God. And you send me a DM on Twitter because you didn't even have my phone number saved. And you're like, dude, I'd love to call me. And I'm like, that's odd. Coach Riley, we had one meeting, and so you called me and you said, hey, essentially my receivers coach at the time, he can't coach for me this season. We're 2 weeks away. I think we were actually during dead week. You're like, I don't even normally talk to people during dead week, like talk to my own coaches during dead week. But we were trying to figure it all out. You were trying to figure it all out, and you said, it's between you and this other guy. And I called who used to be my quarterback at SAGU for a little bit, CJ Collins. And he said Cody, go with Cody. And so it was really cool how God was working all of these things in the background, and setting us up and putting us in relationship with all of these different people, for him to work out this path that now I've been serving alongside you for a while now, and the rest is kind of history, and we're still going at this thing, going at it strong, but it's been fun.
Awesome.
That's the quick, at least.
Yeah. It's definitely, whenever I decided, I don't know the exact time, when I decided that I'm going to let the Lord be the general manager, I'm going to let the Lord pick my coaches for me, it's still cool that even the ones I may have picked without his, what I would call divine interruption, or divine interruptions.
Yeah.
Ours was a divine appointment, and it stayed. So, all right, next question. What was okay, I got to stop. This has been interesting, the answers I'm getting here. So, what was your first impression of the phrase, built different?
First impression of the phrase, built different, I had just come along, like I said, and I'm starting to pick up all of these different things that you've picked up, that you've come along, that you're trying to implement into the culture. First of all, I think I probably just smiled 24/7 that first week, because I was like, this place is so different from when I was here. It was just cool to see. One of the things that really connected me to you as whenever I first met, you made the statement, you said, why should God-fearing young men that also love football, why should it hurt them that they go to a Christian school? Why should that hurt them for their future? And I remember thinking, that's what I said. That's what I wanted to kind of to start that path, even if people down the road didn't even know my name, that like, hey, you can go to a school like this and also go on to play football. And so I think that first week I was just smiling nonstop, because I saw all of the intentionality that you were putting into the culture, and realizing just how different it was from when I was there. And so I think that first week, people were breaking out on Built Different, where people are screaming Built Different. And I think I asked one of the coaches at the time, I was like, where did Built Different come from? Or I said something like that. And he laughed and he said, I guess it was the first summer. He tells me a story of the first summer. Y'all are trying to change this culture, and you're trying to teach them how to work hard. You're trying to teach them how to push through pain. You're trying to teach them all of these different things, and they're starting to get it. He told me, and there was one time that a kid, you said something to him, and I'm sure I'm getting the stories a little bit off, but something along the lines of, he kind of smirked back at you and he said, well, Coach, I'm just built different. And that kind of became the mantra that summer, and then it's just carried through of we are built different, and then the spiritual implications of being built different. But I just thought it was cool that from that culture shift, it came from, you talk all the time about good teams are coach-led, great teams are player-led. That mantra kind of came from a player, from a light switch turning on in him of like, well, Coach, I'm just built different. It's like he gets it, And so I thought that was really cool whenever I heard the story. And then my biggest story with Built Different was the McKinney Christian halftime, where I was actually talking ball outside with one of the other coaches. We were trying to figure out adjustments. I mean, it was a big game. We were talking about what we were going to do, and then I think before actually, and we were talking about the game plan and stuff. We were going over it, And then we just hear this eruption inside the locker room. And we're like, what in the world is that? And good thing that we have it recorded. Just kidding, we don't, because Isaac. But Coach Riley is not extending the truth when he talks about that moment, because I heard the roar from outside the locker room when Coach Riley revealed the ink on his skin that says "Built Different," and I think that showed them we have a coach that's bought in, literally, you know.
Yeah, that's good. The interesting thing in the book, I talk a little bit about that moment. I've asked all the boys, I've texted them, which one of y'all said, Coach, I'm just built different? Because I really want to give them cred for it.
In my head, it was Josh Ham.
Yeah, but everyone I've asked, no, that wasn't me. It was said. It was said. I thought it was Jack Harrington. Jack's like, no, I think it was one of the twins. The twins are like, no, I'm pretty sure it was. They didn't say Josh Ham. They wouldn't have said Luke Ham. He was the quiet warrior. It had to be one of those 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, they don't remember it because they were about dead.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, I was showing what toughness was to kids who hadn't been shown it before, and they were thriving in that. So that's interesting. And the tattooing is not something that I tell people they need to do. That's just me. But yeah, the whole thing on that's its own episode. All right. When did you realize that coaching, especially, I mean, you've only coached in a Coach Riley program. When did you realize in this realm of high school football, when did you realize that sports were bigger, our culture was bigger than the scoreboard?
Ooh, I'm not sure if I could track it to an exact moment. I think the longer that I've run alongside you, I start to realize that you will forget the score from 3 years ago.
Always.
You will forget who won the whole thing. You know, you may or may not remember certain moments. You may or may not, but when you're first in it, everything feels really big. You know, it's like, and it was special for me because I had played against a lot of these teams as a player, right? I remember a lot of these schools. I remember that's where I did something cool. That's where I remember something cool happened. So then I want that same thing for them. But the longer that I've run with you, I realize those things quickly fade away. Those things are not the memorable things. Those are that is what brings us all together for something greater, right? That is the draw, if you will, for life change to happen, for principles to be instilled into young men. For now, obviously, we love football. Obviously, a lot of our conversations are talking straight up football. But more than that, greater than that, I couldn't tell you the whole schedule from the first year that you were head coach here. I couldn't tell you the score to every game. The first year that I called plays here, I could not tell you the score from every game. I could not tell you exactly what happened, but I can tell you whenever we had somebody get saved and their eternity get changed at a halftime, I'll never forget that. Mm-hmm. He'll never forget that. Mm-hmm. His eternity shifted forever during the middle of a football game. I think you just start to see the greater picture for what it is.
That's good. So a lot of people make fun of us,
Yeah.
which I love, by the way. I love those of y'all that watching this that make fun of us. Built different. Make fun of the name of our school. I really do love it because that means you're that much more worried about us. But it's really not about that for you watching this, and that's why I'm looking at the camera. We want you to be built different too in Christ. Yeah. We want you to change and shift your focus, if it's not already there, to chasing God.
Yeah.
But in the process, you got to make fun of somebody. So why not make fun of the team that gets all the hype, gets all the sponsorships, gets all the media attention, gets everything but the final thing right now? It's coming. Why not make fun of them for their catchphrase, built different? So the question to that, what do people misunderstand about the built different culture? So these would be your outsiders.
Yeah, I think if you don't know, you could easily perceive it as, oh, they just think they're better than everybody else. You could easily perceive it as, well, they just want to be different. They're just doing that to try to get attention. I think that it could be perceived as a lot of things. I think also, if we're being quite honest, there's an element of jealousy. We don't. This is not, I'm not throwing shade here at anyone, but we don't have the same logo as everybody else. We don't have the same colors as everybody else. I think that there's a practical side to it, but then there's obviously a spiritual side to it that it's easy to just look at something that you don't understand and judge it. If you don't really spend the time to get to know someone or something intimately, then the easier thing to do is to just judge it. And I think that's what happens to us sometimes. I think people like to put us in a box because they don't quite understand us. You know, we're very outspoken about our faith. We're very charismatic in what we believe. We're very in your face about it, unapologetic about it, and we want everyone to join in. You know, it's not like we are part of an exclusive club that we don't want you to also be in. We would love for everyone to. How cool would it be if every culture was like this? How many lives would be changed if everyone really got this? But yeah, I think it's easy to judge something you don't understand.
That answer is good because you hit the nail on the head. We don't want to be the built different onlys. Yeah. We want every single coach in America to believe 1 Peter 2:9, to believe that Jesus is the Son of God, to believe that presence-driven discipleship is what matters, to believe that when you chase God, everything else falls into place. But that's John 15:18. Everybody wants to be like the world. Yep. They want to be liked. They have a fear of man. They're afraid of what quarterback dad's going to say. Yep. They're afraid of what Booster Bob is going to say or take. They're afraid of what Principal Jones, if there's a Principal Jones, sorry, Principal John Doe, they're afraid of what Principal John Doe is going to think if they say these things. They're afraid of what 5-star illegal recruit you brought in says when you say, you can't look at that on your phone, you can't do that with women, yep. You can't act like that, you can't talk like that, you know what, you can't be on our team. That's built different. And people don't want to do that because they want this superficial reward at the end that makes them feel justified when they're really undignified. And that was a little Coach Riley rant. Sorry about that. But you got me on that one because I want everyone to be built different. Yeah. We're not doing this podcast because we're a secret. Yeah. We don't have this media because we're a secret. We want everyone to do what we do. Yeah. You know how cool it would be? We've never played a game with another presence-driven school. We play the game where the Christian school comes across making fun of us because we're praying on the field before a game. We come where we're speaking in our heavenly language on the field, and the Catholic school comes that's 10 times bigger than us and is laughing at us. Yeah. We don't want that. We want those sons to come to know Christ the way that we know Christ. And lastly, on that built different, just so y'all know, we're the most humble, unapologetic people about our sins. We have sinned and we have been forgiven, and we know. That's why we don't apologize for it. I don't apologize for my sins because they're forgiven. They're forgiven, forgotten, and move on. But I don't want to do them again.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me better than anybody.
Yeah.
That makes me want God
more
than I want anything.
Right.
So that's really good. That really got me fired up, if you can't tell. Okay, so now while I'm fired up, what does biblical toughness look like to you? Before you answer, I'm tired, if you're a coach of this, I'm tired of Christian schools being wimps.
Yeah.
I'm tired of them raising up weak men and trying to say that they need to step aside, let other people step all over them. I'm tired of it. I've never heard of a Christian school be so weak as the ones that are out there now on how you develop. So, and not all Christian schools are that way, but what about tough?
Yeah.
So I love to talk about biblical toughness, but why don't you tell us what biblical toughness looks like to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, Jesus is our model, right? We talk a lot about that Jesus is our model. So if Jesus is our model, he is the, he encapsulates biblical toughness. He was born of Virgin Mary. He comes low, he gets low. So I think first he displays humility, right? He displays humility by coming in human form, born in a lowly place. And then from that, he lived a perfect life that we could not live, took on the sins of the world. And in that, you think of the imagery. And I know sometimes it's easy to be like, yeah, I know the story. But one thing that I love whenever you talk about the gruesome details to our boys of what that crucifixion looked like. When our Savior took on all of the sins of the world, he had a crown of thorns that pierced his head. He is literally crying blood. He had nails driven through his palms. He's hung on. I mean, that you cannot get much tougher than that. I think that is our model, but through all of that, he still displayed humility. He still displayed forgiveness and a tender heart. Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do, right? Like I think that is the biblical toughness. It's not just going through something hard. It's going through something hard while keeping your heart right. We have a coach that makes he says it in a way that is hyperbolic. He's joking whenever he says it, but he'll say something like, hey, lay him out and we'll pray for him after, right? And he's joking and it's fun and it's funny. Like, we're not ever trying to intentionally hurt somebody, but what he's trying to help these kids with is, it's okay to display your toughness. That is a gift from God that he's given us. But in that, we're going to keep our heart right, that we're not wishing any ill will on anyone. And the funny thing about whenever he says that is literally something we would do. That is literally something we have done. We've seen our boys, something to that effect, lay a massive hit. And, the trainers are telling our boys, hey, you can't touch them. And they're like, we're just trying to lay hands and help heal this person real quick so he can finish the game. That is awesome. That is our boys' mentality. But that biblical toughness, I think Jesus modeled that in so many different ways. But I think the first thing I see is the crucifixion. It doesn't get much tougher than that.
No, that's really good. Okay, and as we wrap up, you already touched on this, so I want you to, you've almost said it a couple of times, but for the audience, what's a phrase that I say that means the most to you personally?
Oof. There's a lot, built different, huge. AGAT, we talk a lot about all you got all the time. I think those ones are really good and easy to catch on to. One of my personal favorites that I use in my personal everyday life, I use this with my family, I use this with my children for parenting, I use this with my wife, whenever I'm encouraging or talking to myself, I use it. It's not really like a catchphrase, but it's something that you taught me, and I've just grabbed a hold of it, is there's only two things that you can control, and that is your attitude and your effort. I will look my kids in the eye and I'll say, hey, what two things can you control? And they'll say, through tears, attitude and effort. What two things can you control? Attitude and effort. Can you control what they said about you at school? No. Can you control how you respond? Yeah. Why? My attitude. Right? And so I literally use it as parenting, but I also use it for myself. And how freeing is it that God has only asked us to really control two things, our attitude and our effort. If you can work on those two things in your leadership, in your life, with your spouse, with your kids, with your team, with your athletes, with your boss, if you can control your attitude and effort. You can't control what they said about you. You can't control what they say behind your back. You can't control how somebody else perceives you. You can't control. There's a lot that I can't control, and I spent a lot of my life trying to do it. But I can control my attitude, and I can control my effort. And I think with that, that's just for the coaches out there. One thing that I've learned from you that I really appreciate is, I think a lot of times coaches talk so much about pouring into the young men, and they talk so much about you're changing lives, and they talk so much about realize the role model you are. And all of that is so true, and all of that is so necessary. But one thing that I've seen in your life, Riley, that I love and I respect about you, and I'm not doing this just because it's his podcast. I'm not doing this just because he's my boss. I'm saying this because I genuinely mean it. You have embodied and displayed what personal growth looks like. I am not only content with trying to make young men better, I am also trying to better myself. I am also trying to connect with God every day. I am not asking them to do something that I am unwilling to do. I've seen you just say, enough. I refuse. I refuse to be content in my life, in my marriage, in my job, as a coach, as an AD, all of the responsibilities you have as a personal trainer, as a father. I refuse to just be content with only trying to better others. It starts with myself, and that's how everything flows. And I've caught that from you, but I've seen the way that you've done it is through your attitude and effort. If you can get those two things right, you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's powerful. All right, we are going into closing with rapid fire.
Oh man!
So
that wasn't rapid fire. I thought.
No, that wasn't rapid fire. Rapid fire. Shout out to the Cypher podcast, my buddy Kevin Pointer.
Okay.
And he's produced by Popular Nobody. That's John Mosley. Shout out to y'all. I'm taking this from y'all. Borrowing it? No. Let's just collab with it. If you want to check out their podcast, you can hit the collab button. So here we go. Finish this sentence. Being built different means.
Being built different means. Being weird, and that's okay.
Love it. What's one Bible verse that anchors your life?
There's a few. I think Ephesians 3:20 comes to mind. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ever ask, think, dream, or imagine. That means close your eyes. Think of the biggest thing God could do in your life right now. Wait a second. He's bigger than that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, what advice would you give a young coach right now?
Yeah, I think I touched on it a second ago. Don't only don't only work on trying to better young athletes, also work on bettering yourself, and that will, from that, they will naturally catch. Culture is caught more than taught. So they will catch what you're trying to embody as you're working on yourself, and then from that everything else will flow. Also, as a young coach, you have to be okay realizing that before you have a voice, you will be an echo, meaning it's okay if I say everything Coach Riley says, because I'm learning how to talk. I'm learning how to coach. I'm learning. So you have to become an echo for you to have a voice. My son right now copies all of our words that we said. He might not even understand them all, but he copies them. One day he'll be able to have his own voice and language. So I think in that, if you're a young coach, it's okay. It might feel inauthentic or like I'm just copying my boss or I'm just copying so-and-so. That's okay. Now, if you do that forever, now you're being inauthentic. But young coach, it's okay to be an echo. You have to be an echo to become a voice.
All right. Outside of Jesus Christ and me, your head coach, athletic director, whatever you want to call me, I like how you say run beside me. But outside of us, who's someone that has changed your life?
Oof. Yeah, Coach Sean Riley for sure. Somebody that's changed my life. I mean, my dad. I've learned so much from my dad. He's given me so many tools that I still use to this day. Every single day, there will be something that pops into my head that he taught me, that a quote from him. We've been through a lot, but I love that guy, and I'm so thankful for him.
Awesome. What's one thing you want listeners to remember? One thing you want these listeners to remember after this episode?
One thing that I want them to remember after this episode, I want them. I got one. Okay, when we were talking earlier, we were talking about built different. We were talking about being weird, and it's easy to judge something that you don't understand. An image kind of popped into my head as we were talking. I didn't know if I had time to share it or not, but I think this is the perfect time. Whenever remember back before you shop online, when you're walking through a mall, I have never once been walking through a mall and seen through a window a mannequin that had exactly the same thing on that I had on. If I had this shirt on, if the mannequin is showing me exactly what I already have, why would I want to go into the store and buy it? Meaning, if your program, if your team, if your kids, if your coaches, if yourself is showing and displaying everything that the world already has to offer, what makes you different? Why would somebody want to come in and say, hey, I want that, when you're literally just showing them the same things they can get on Instagram, the same things they can get on television, from their friends, from the world, from the club, from the streets, from whatever it may be, for you to be appealing in a Christ-like manner, you have to be displaying something different than what they already own. They're not going to come in if you're just showing them everything they already got. So don't be afraid to display something different. People might not understand it, but that's what's going to separate you from everyone in a good way.
So don't be afraid to be built different.
Yes, sir.
If you're like the world will love you. If you're not like the world, Jesus loves you. You're from God. John 15:18, paraphrased. All right. Thank you so much, Cody White. It's a joy running alongside of you. My last call to action I started with, I will end with it. If you want to know more and you want to hear more interviews, you want to learn more about being built different, not just as a football coach, but spiritually, mentally, and physically, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and please share it with one person that you haven't shared it with before.
Do it now.
Do it now, and thank you so much. I'll catch you on the other side.